Well, I got something to say about West Virginia.
Uh-oh. Tim lives in West Virginia, just FYI.
Send it. Yeah.
So
What do you
I've been fighting this cold for about a week now. So I sound extra nasally tonight. And anyway, I went to Percival over here, which if you don't know where Percival is, it's like a little bit west of Leesburg. Is like what, 10 minutes west of Leesburg, which is obviously closer to West Virginia. So I went to a Giant in Percival, and I tried to get Sudafed because that's like my drug of choice when I get a cold. But it's the one you have to give them your ID for. You know, you can't buy it too much because you might make meth, right?
Yeah. Well, you did make meth.
So then I went over a little bit. It turns out a little bit more west, closer to West Virginia, to the Walgreens in town. And I go up and I ask if they have Sudafed. Well, I'm sorry, Giant said they didn't have any. They haven't had any for months, and the lady wasn't particularly nice about it. So I left and I went to Walgreens. That lady was nice, and she was like, well, they have this radius, and the easiest way that I can explain it to you is basically, she said, you can go over to the Harris Teeter in town, which is not even a mile away from the store I'm in. She's like, they have it usually. And the reason is they're outside of this radius that we are in. And basically it's been explained. She's telling me it's been explained to me that this radius is because we're too close to West Virginia.
What? Oh, because all the meth heads are in West Virginia.
There we go.
I come here to buy it.
Wow.
So yeah, like just go a quarter of a mile down the road, and it's okay to buy it there. Thanks to West Virginia.
I probably can't buy it near me then.
I know, Tim. You're not responsible.
Well, I'm in Morgantown. Morgantown's not a meth head city. It's
the entire state is meth head.
No.
Yes.
They're the one shining light at the top of the state.
Pretty much. If there's a place to live in West Virginia, it's Morgantown.
Well, I got my Sudafed finally, so I just took some too.
I had to deal with that buying Allegra.
Well, you're in West. You can't even. You'd have to go like to Pennsylvania.
No.
To buy anything.
I got Allegra. I couldn't buy
Allegra?
more. Yeah.
What does that get you high?
I guess you can mix it with stuff and make other things. But I bought Allegra 24 hour and I was like, I want 12 hours. So I went back and they're like, you can't buy this. And I was like, why? And they said, you already bought 24 hour in this month. You have to wait 30 days. And I said, can my wife buy it? And they said, sure.
Well, couldn't you just split the pill in half?
Were they asking what you guys were?
I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds a little suspect.
Oh my God, Chris is upside down.
What the hell? This is how I roll. Is this going to be all right?
We were not supposed to reveal the anti-gravity yet, dude.
Oh, give me a second here.
All right, flip your computer the other way around so that we can actually see.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how you work with a computer like this, but how you doing, Chris?
Good. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Nice to see everybody. It's been a while.
I know.
Been a while.
I was just thinking that today when the last time you were on the show, on the podcast.
Well, it was either Maiden or Sabotage.
It was Killers, I thought. Yeah. Wasn't it?
Killers?
Probably.
Did we talk? I don't know if we talked about Killers, did we? I think we did their debut, but we don't know if we talked. Did we talk about Killers? I don't know if we talked about Killers.
Why didn't we talk about Killers?
I don't know.
Shit.
We've done
was
this
it
for
Seventh
5 years
Son?
now, so I get confused on what years we've done and what years we haven't
I
done.
know because we didn't stick to a 30 years.
So like some years we'll do all of 90 and then some of 80, and then another year we'll do 91, and we won't even do 81 at all. So I don't think.
Well, we went through the albums that were released in '93, and all of us are just like, do we have enough content?
We're gonna have to go back to 83 because there's a couple big ones from 83 for sure. One specific one I'm thinking of, but
I don't know what it is.
83. You know what?
Number of the Beast.
Eric.
What? Are you
Not
crazy?
Number of the Beast.
Yeah, I'm fucking with you.
Okay. He's tooling with you, sir.
Yeah, that's right.
Strategically located in the back there.
Yes.
Eric. Yes.
Yeah.
And on Joe's too, actually. Joe's is behind.
Oh yeah.
That's the 40th anniversary that came out last year.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Number of the Beast album.
Oh, yeah.
So it actually has well, we'll get to it. I don't want to talk about that. Once we get into the podcast.
Mine is not. I bought that several years ago. No.
Well, I have the original too, but it's beat the shit. It skips a lot. And,
hand me down.
It is a hand me down. I think that was Tim Caperso's, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Used as a drink coaster, most likely.
Jesus.
Not in good shape. Not in good shape.
It was something else with albums.
No. Well, should we get going?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, do have local news that's kind of a downer, but
Oh, yeah?
for any of you guys from the DC region, my friend Pat Crean, better known as PJ Goon, passed away at the end of December. Figured he was a guitar player of the Goons, was also in Death Camp Skinny, Reticence, music band, and I think Oldham Boys. But he guy was a fighter. He was, had cystic fibrosis as a child, and
Wow.
his funeral, his sister mentioned, they never checked it out, but the normal life expectancy he's born in 1972. Normal life expectancy was 8. So
really
made it to 50. I mean, he had a lung transplant back in 2002, but that guy, when he and I were playing shows in the worst freaking venues, just covered in smoke back when you could smoke indoors, he would get on stage and just, hey smokers, fuck you,
Wow.
And but one way or another, Pat was a friend of mine, great guy, and
well, sorry to hear it.
Yeah,
Rest in peace.
sorry about that.
Okay, well, we are celebrating the 30th anniversary, even though it's not really 30th anniversary anymore. So we had a big plan at the end of last year. We're gonna do like a nice bookend episode where we're gonna celebrate the first album to feature Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, and not the last, but the last one before he took his little hiatus in the 90s, right? So, and it just happened.
We didn't know it was a hiatus either when it happened.
No, we did not.
yeah,
We
he thought it was.
So, and it just so happens that, Number of the Beast came out in 82 and Fear the Dark came out in 92. So, us being a podcast that celebrates milestone anniversaries of albums, it made sense to kind of do them both. All right. Well, we're going to start with Fear the Dark. So I'll play a little bit of that and then we'll get some intros going in.
Oh God.
Well, hey, look, the way I look at it this way, the headliner, if we were at a concert, would be Number of the Beast by far, right? So the opener is going to be the worst band.
This doesn't even deserve to open.
Oh boy,
for anything.
Wow.
I got so much to say.
Look at that. Fern's got both. Wow, impressive.
Nice.
I don't even know if I have
you,
this on CD or tape or
I have it on
vinyl.
CD.
There you go. Nice. See, Keith's got the tape, the cassette.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
8-track.
Fern had the cassette as well. So
Yeah.
I got the record
Keeping it-
back there. Can you see it?
Nice.
Well,
Oh yeah.
so we may as well introduce our guests now, since they've been talking and everybody knows at this point anyway. So I will introduce them officially. So we've got Fern and Chris here. They are in the premier East Coast Iron Maiden tribute band, Eyes of the Nile. Fern is the bass player. Chris is the drummer. Chris is a veteran of the show. Chris has been on the episode or on this podcast like 3 or 4 times at this point, but this is Fern's first appearance on the podcast. So welcome, guys.
Thanks for having me. Hi, Fern.
Hello. Hey, Deech.
You guys know each other?
We show up on stage together and then we leave, and that's how I know him.
He leaves the door open. I'm hungry. It works.
It's the best way to do it. No drama.
Do your job. Get paid.
I love the fact.
And I'll see you next time.
I love the fact that we got another drummer on the show to as a guest, but we also added in a bass player, so it's now 3 bassists, 2 drummers, and 1 fucking guitar player.
I know. I'm way outnumbered. This is crazy.
I see what you're trying to do here.
Hey, to be fair, I can play a little bit of drums and I can play a little bit of bass. So fuck it.
I would hope as a guitar player you could play bass.
I don't know if it. And I don't know if it evens anything out, but I actually am a drummer as well. So.
I've seen you with a guitar on stage too, Fern. So.
Yeah, a little bit. I dabble.
See.
Andy sings.
I mean, really, anybody with rhythm, you could, and arms and legs, you can pick up drums, right?
I always say it's the easiest thing to learn or start learning, but I think it's one of the hardest things to
quasi-musical.
It's quasi-musical.
Pseudo music.
Yeah, it's prehistoric.
Music-ish. Yeah.
But I think it's the hardest thing. One of the hardest things to really be good at. I mean, it's the easiest thing I think to learn.
Well, yeah, that's the first thing I played was the drums when I was a kid, and I was like, fuck it, this is
stupid.
let me do something where you can't. I want to play heavy metal at bass so I can be in a band right away and be terrible and no one knows. Just turn down.
You can stay in the back and turn to the other side.
Yeah,
open E.
That's what I did. Yeah,
That's right.
I feel attacked, guys.
Well, Keith did it in a punk band, so he got it even easier.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about open E. That's really all you need to do if you're in a punk band.
Did you know that? Of course, I have to jump in with some Beatles nuggets of knowledge here, but
this is not a Beatles episode. Go ahead.
I know, but speaking of bass players not knowing what they're doing, their first bass player, Stu Sutcliffe, was so bad. He used to turn around and face the other way so people couldn't see that he was playing in the wrong positions. And
wow.
And they all knew this. But they were just friends, and John Lennon didn't want him to leave or anything. So he would turn around. Can you imagine? There's pictures where you could see him turn around. It's ridiculous. Can you imagine that?
No.
Yeah,
that reminds me of a moment of pride I had when we had a guitar player in our band. He was a lead guitar player, but when we played live, he'd use a volume pedal and turn down during the riffs because the metal riffs that I wrote were too fast. He couldn't play them.
That's what he turned down.
Yeah. So he would turn up during the solos so you could hear him on the solos. But when the riffs would come in for the,
he was basically lip syncing.
Yeah, basically.
Actually,
he was only in the band for, I think he only had like 2 live shows with us. So
yeah.
Anyway,
the first band I was in, Aftershock, our first gig was the singer's graduation party from high school.
Oh, okay.
And we played Lost for Words.
Nice.
But we didn't play with bass because he never learned it. So we went up there and played it without bass. It's like, why not?
Huh.
Ridiculous.
High school band,
Not a good band.
Yeah,
Not a good band to drop the bass from.
No. But when you're 17 years old, it's just like, we're gonna do it, and then we play Wipeout.
Yeah, you really got me.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's get going with Chris's favorite album, Fear of the Dark.
Oh yeah. Best song.
Okay, I will fade it out there. So, Iron Maiden, obviously, you don't really need to introduce the band, but if you're new to this podcast and you've never heard of Iron Maiden for some odd reason, vocals Bruce Dickinson, bass Steve Harris, guitar Dave Murray, guitar Yannick Gers, and drums Nico McBrain. And this album was produced by Martin Birch, as usual, but also co-produced by Steve Harris. I think this is the first one that he had actual producing credits on. Where
was it recorded?
Is it? I think this was recorded in his barn as well.
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought.
They renovated it though after No Prayer.
After disaster. Yeah, it just sounded a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's sort of, and it also sort of didn't. Yeah.
Different. Wet, reverby, wet. I just think wet when I hear this album. I get wet listening to it.
You get swampy, like swampy sounding.
I get moist.
Oh.
Fern's like, why am I doing this?
No,
it was nice meeting you guys. Bye.
See you guys. No, I was just looking. It says remixed. I'm sorry, recorded and mixed at Barnyard Studios, Essex, England.
Yeah, that's Steve's crib.
Yeah. I mean, the production is like we were saying. It's not. It doesn't hold up to their classic stuff, and
it's better than the one before, probably, but it's also I don't know. There's some stuff I don't like as much as well. Like I don't think the bass sounds good. I don't think the drums sound good at all. But
It's funny because
the music sounds good.
Well, when I first heard it, it sounded to me a bit more, to my untrained ear as a kid and a fan, it sounded almost fuller and bigger than No Prayer. No Prayer had a bit more of a raw sound to me.
Yeah.
Even though listening back, it sounds not too far off like Seventh Son in style with some of the songs, like Bring Your Daughter, even though it's like, the single at the time. And for some Maiden fans, it was a little bit of a throwaway. Some thought it was cool, but the more you listen to it's obviously Maiden. But there was something a bit more, I guess, not as polished or produced about the sound, whereas this one, Fear of the Dark, sounds a bit more, even if it's got its shortcomings, it sounds a bit bigger and fuller than No Prayer to my ears.
Yeah. I think so.
It's kind of funny that we're bringing that up because originally when we were first talking about doing this album, there was like, the whole, like, all right, we're going to have the throwdown, the two giant pillars of the Iron Maiden history, No Prayer versus, Fear of the Dark. And I think we realized that the real loser here would be anyone that would sit through a conversation about it.
So our work is cut out for us.
Yeah.
Oh man. Damn, Keith.
So, I mean,
you just shit on all of us, including yourself.
the weird thing, I mean, do you want to keep listening to stuff or?
Yes,
well, we can talk about a couple of things. So I want to talk about the album cover. Because there's a couple significant things with the album cover.
There's a problem there, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Something's
no
missing.
Derek Riggs.
No Derek. No Derek.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
See the selfie light little effect.
I mean, it's not. It's.
Is this the first one where the logo is on the side as well? And maybe the only one?
Maybe the only one. Yeah.
I think it is. I think it is. Well, that's B-sides, but No Prayer was on the top, and the rest of them are all on the top. So
yeah. I mean, it's not a bad album.
No,
it's fine, but it's not.
It's not like the
when we get into Number of the Beast, there's some. That's iconic, right? Like, so
of course.
this is not when you think Maiden. It's like album covers. This doesn't pop into your head. So
no.
So
it's kind of bland.
Just what general comment about it is that, and I'll completely blab about it later, but the first weird thing for me about this album cover is that it doesn't really, even though it's not, and I'll say this a couple times later, it's not a concept album by any means, but like when I hear Fear of the Dark, I see the album cover and then the opening track. I mean, it's like, holy shit, it's just like in your face, balls to the wall, has like this dark edge to it, angry.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got this From Here to Eternity and then
Free to Shoot Strangers.
And then wait, where the hell did it go? Well, even that was a little dark and moody. But Chains of Misery, the apparition, it's like, what is going on? This is not dark anymore. Fear of the Dark doesn't mean anything anymore. So I don't know. Sometimes I think like the album cover should kind of,
dictate
kind of the flavor of the album or something. Even unless it's not a concept album, but
unless they had a fear of being dark.
I mean,
I know they got fear as the key. I don't know. It's all
the theme is fear.
I did get that theme. Go back and listen to this album. That fear is definitely a theme.
In
the album. So
I don't know why a monster that comes out of a tree would be scary for humans.
Especially maybe if you're stuck in a tree.
You're a squirrel, that would be bad. But
you don't think monsters coming out of a tree at night are scary?
Well, it's not coming out of the tree. He's actually part of the tree. So he just be like, rah, and you just
step back and it's like, what are you going to do, buddy?
What are you You could urinate on him, probably.
I'd be scared.
Like evil Treebeard.
Yes, exactly.
I'd be scared, but then I'd be like, I'm just going to walk over here now, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
I should mention that
there's trees in Wizard of Oz that were scarier than this guy. Oh yeah, the artist.
The artist is Melvin Grant, and he actually did other artwork for the band.
Which other ones did he do?
Let me see. I don't know.
Some of the Blaze ones, or
Oh yeah, because those aren't very good, are they?
No,
No.
those are awful.
Yeah,
No, those are
virtual.
really bad.
virtual
One was
man.
done by an AI robot or something, I think.
He did do the Fear. He did Virtual X. He did Death on the Road, Final Frontier, From Fear to Eternity.
They did Final Frontier. Okay.
Yeah.
So
And he had
he left with Bruce. They started a duo,
Yeah.
and then they came back. And did he come back, Derek Riggs, or was that it?
Let me see.
I mean, only because looking at some of the later stuff, it doesn't really look like Derek.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, yeah,
You could just see, I mean, with the beside it
you can
saying
really
inside,
tell.
it should have his little autograph thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Stratego definitely not. Book, no.
Definitely not Final Frontier. I mean, that's just not Derek.
That was this guy, the Grant, Melvin Grant. He did
Melvin Grant, right?
Pretty Dance of Death.
Yeah, I think No Prayer was the last one Derek Riggs did ever. I think I'm reading this right. So it's too bad.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Well, maybe did he die or something?
No, he's alive.
No, he's
still
yep.
around. He's still around.
Yeah, because they definitely haven't been as good since he left.
No.
Apparently, they wanted a more '90s version of Eddie for this album.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
A modern
Yeah,
version.
you got a haircut, and the
Yeah,
tunes were
like
more
what?
radio friendly.
Yeah, flannel shirt.
Yeah, like what?
Right, yeah.
All right, well, we can move on.
We'll
from
have
the
to
album
say
to
the twigs coming out of his head are quite shorter than like what his hairstyle is on Killer.
Yeah, it's like 90s Metallica.
Yeah. Well, the opener is strong on this album.
They should have ended the album right there.
Opener and then closer.
3 minutes,
came out-
23 seconds, and then boom, that's it.
And you know what's
Done.
worse is that was released before the album came out. It was on Headbangers Ball.
That's right.
Yeah,
A couple weeks
that's why
before.
Oh, was it?
actually,
Yeah.
I
We're
caught
like,
the world
yes.
premiere.
Yeah.
I caught the world premiere, and that was actually the first. So my comment about it sounding heavier than No Prayer for the Dying, that was exactly it. It was almost like I saw the video, blown away. It was like a shock factor going on because it felt so much heavier. It also felt different, even though again it is typical Maiden when you go back and listen to it. But when you
It does feel
listen to it
different.
for the first time, it has a real different feel to it. Yeah.
Yeah, there was something heavier about it. There is really something heavier in that song. The way but yeah, if you learn the song, it's kind of the same notes that they stick with, but
Just the same
do it
formula.
differently. Yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, though, the song is played in G. So if you were to move it to E, it would feel like typical Maiden. But the fact that they moved it to G, the progressions aren't too dissimilar, but the feel winds up being like,
Yeah, which is kind of the same with the title track as well. It's the same. They start in a different place, but yeah, it's kind of that same formula. But it works. So the album, and we're probably going to talk about it. Are we going to do each track on this?
I don't know if we need to go track by track.
Okay.
So
we're all in agreement. The first and the last song are the best.
Oh yeah.
I disagree.
Oh yeah.
No, and I mean, yes, that's the whole thing. Like, I think we've talked, so far the whole business in 1992 that my first couple arrests, lots of grounding going on that year. So the whole kind of thing of but the album that just came out before this one,
No Prayer.
No Prayer. My friend up the street, he had that, and so even though like he had it, we didn't really get too much rotation because we wasn't a Power Slave instead, because that's a good album. I bought this one, as you can see, I have it in my hand. So I ended up listening to this a fuck ton more than anything else. Than No Prayer. That's why I really like this album more than that. Just more or less, I listened to it a whole lot more. But for me, I listened to this album a lot, and I still, that we came back to it this year. I don't know why I listened to it as much as I did, because it's not a very good album. But one way or another, my two favorites, oddly enough, and call me weird, I don't know, The Apparition and Judas Be My Guide.
Judas Be My Guide is great. I think that's a classic Maiden song.
I do want to talk about The Apparition.
Yeah, that's a good
Oh my
song.
God.
It's way too long.
Talk about that song.
Way too long. It's not even 4 minutes.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Well, I just one thing that always bothered me about that song was the way he does the vocals.
Oh,
Yes,
it's the
exactly.
worst.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I don't like
we
that
just crammed in some shit, and
I know. Steve Harris said, "Sing these fucking words, or you're fired."
yeah, fit them in somehow.
He just like had to fit all these words, and then
Well-
the lyrics are so ridiculous. But not.
Yeah,
I mean, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I'll play a little.
But not.
Exactly. Before.
yeah, he just follows the guitar basically with the vocal. It's the laziest he's ever done on a song vocally.
Thought not. All right, that's enough of that. So sorry, Keith, you're outnumbered on this one for sure.
I don't mind them. I don't mind the music really. It's just
Yeah.
I like the last note when it ends. It's
I
my
like that
favorite.
one note in that one song. That's pretty good.
Actually, I do like the last. I like the way that song ends, honestly, but I just think it's lyrically probably the worst song.
I can't believe it's not even 4 minutes long. It feels much longer.
It feels like an eternity.
But you know what? I don't hate the album. I think it's not very good, but I actually do like some of the songs. I think the first side though is way stronger than the second side.
What?
I would say
I'd say that's true.
Aside from Fear of the Dark, because Fear of the Dark is good, but like I don't know, I liked I don't like From Here to Eternity. I like Afraid to Choose Strangers.
Yeah.
Childhood's End was okay.
You know what that song reminds me of? One of their singles that they did. Was it King of Twilight or Rainbow's Gold or something? Because it has the same kind of
Was that a
Oh,
recent
yeah.
song?
No,
What's that?
Which this childhood's end? Or is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
it's like the same thing as one of those B-sides, like King of Twilight, I think it was, or I wish I had it in front of me.
I'll play a little bit of this one.
They're just all kind of doing that in unison. That.
Yeah.
Bass sounds terrible there.
Yeah, it does.
You can't even tell what note he's playing really.
I'd sail across the ocean. I'd walk 100 miles if I could make it to the end. Oh, just to see a smile.
Yeah, I mean it's fine.
Okay.
I thought
yeah.
Fear is the Key I kind of liked, but I did with that one. You think they like the song Kashmir a little bit? Because
Oh, yeah.
that song, I'll play a little bit of that because like that's, I don't know. To me, it reminds me of Kashmir quite a bit.
It's got the like Mediterranean, Middle Eastern kind of vibe.
But I don't mind the song. I think it's a pretty good song, actually.
I said 244 in this song was pretty heavy.
Oh, I had that too. Actually, my note was pretty fucking heavy.
Yeah. Kind of surprising.
I like how he kind of cracks a little bit there, and they kept it in.
Yeah, but this is heavy.
Good.
Yeah. Except for the stupid disco beat.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, right.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, this song doesn't do much for me at all.
Yeah.
And then this random section coming up that comes out of nowhere.
Oh,
Can you get to the next section?
Yeah. Oh, this, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the lies and lies and lies and lies. And
I
lies
hate
and lies.
that.
Yeah. So weird.
And it's one of the few times he does his epic scream in this
Yes.
weird ass section. Twice.
Yeah. Yeah, right here. Right here. This is the first album that has that Bruce scream, isn't it? I
Yeah.
don't feel like because that, and now he does
I
that
never-
all the
Or
time.
the first song on the album, or
No, I'm just saying, like this album, that specific scream that now he does that.
The
Scream all
legacy.
time.
That's the legacy of the Beast Boys.
And I don't know if it's because he can't do certain, like he can't do the Number of the Beast scream anymore, right? Like that's, I don't know. That doesn't seem like it's something he could do. I mean, I'm surprised he could do that when he was 20. That stream is.
I was going to say the Number of the Beast scream, I think, happened once, and we've all heard it.
Yeah, exactly.
Deech, was it you that was telling me that maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but that Number of the Beast scream, that was just after him being so aggravated with Martin Birch, and he kept having him going over and over again and do it.
yeah. Well, basically, yes.
Yeah.
It's on the you could probably find on YouTube now just the making of that album, like classic albums.
Oh
that
yeah,
whole
I think it was on VH1 or something, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
or was it just a DVD that came out? I think it was just a DVD that came out. Anyway, yeah, I think I own that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Got it back there somewhere.
Yeah. I did want to talk about Wasting Love a little bit because, well, first of all,
Yeah, it sounds like it
I
should
like
be
it.
on a Dickinson solo album.
Yeah.
Oh, half of these songs that's what I was gonna say. Half
it
of
sounds
these
like
songs.
Def Leppard is what it sounds. And I
Yeah.
actually like early Def Leppard, so I don't really have a problem with that. But
Song sucks. Fuck that song.
but does this? So I'm gonna play this, and you guys tell me. I mean, that first note. What is that?
Bringing on the heartbreak.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
The same fucking thing, practically.
Well, it's Gers, and I think they played shows with Def Leppard, whatever band he was. What was his band before Maiden?
I don't know.
Glam London band.
Look it up.
Wait, he was in a glam band. I'm shocked.
I don't know if they're glam, but you know, they had some cheesy ass name.
Anyway,
White Spirit. I think
Mm.
yeah, that's the one.
White Spirit. Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, From Here to Eternity, Wasting Love, maybe Chains of Misery,
Chains of Misery.
Weekend Warrior. I mean, those could have all been on Tattooed Millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
Interesting
two of
because
them.
From Here to Eternity is Steve Harris only.
I'm pretty sure Weekend Warrior was Steve Harris too.
It's Harris and Gers.
Crazy.
Well, I mean,
I
I mean, Weekend Warrior. That's the whole thing. Like, you know, I mentioned in '92, I'd just gotten arrested a couple times. So, like, Weekend Warrior, like, I listened to that a ton because I thought it was about, you know, going out and doing what I got arrested for. Turns out it's just about
I thought it was about
football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, soccer. Sorry, John.
Yeah.
Soccer.
Yeah.
That's what it was about.
It's about, you know, I mean, Steve Harris is a huge.
I thought it was about reservists. I never.
No. Nope. It's about. I mean, Steve Harris is a big West Ham fan.
Yeah.
West Ham.
He is.
They were, you know, back the
It's
ICF in the late '70s. You know, were considered the pretty much biggest hooligans of the entire freaking country. So.
Well, Wasting Love actually was.
They had a video too.
Yeah, that was
interesting.
written. That was written during the Tattooed Millionaire phase. So you were right on, Chris. That was something they wrote back during that solo.
It sounds like it shouldn't have made that Tattooed. Like I can see why they didn't put it on there because that album, the songs on that are better than Wasting Love. I think
They just have that
maybe not
same.
all of them, but
Yeah, it's weird that Steve Harris wrote a lot of those other ones because it sounds like Weekend Warrior and Chains of Misery, maybe, or definitely From Here to Eternity could have been on.
Is From Here to Eternity, is that kind of a continuation of Charlotte the Harlot and all that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, 'cause she gets mentioned.
I think it's part of that canon.
Yeah, it is, but it's
Is
also like they drive off, like I don't know, they take off on the motorcycle and end up in space or some nonsense.
But it's all innuendo.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You're right, Joe.
and that's the thing about Tattooed is like every freaking lyric in that album is like innuendo. It's crazy.
Yeah, so it's the fourth of the Charlotte the Harlot saga.
Because there's
other
one from
three,
the album before, right?
Hooks and You.
Yeah, Hooks and You. That's right.
Charlotte the Harlot, 22 Acacia, and Hooks and You are the other three.
Hooks and You.
I see a musical in the works.
Oh God,
Yeah,
Well-
Saucy Jack. Saucy Jack.
I don't like most of those songs. So, well, 22 is fine, but the other three, I'm like,
I don't like.
You don't like Charlotte the Harlot?
not really.
I mean, it's
I like the first two.
So aggressive and punky. And I just love the old stuff.
I love the old stuff too.
I
but,
know,
you know,
Chris.
I don't even dislike the music on From Here to Eternity so much. It's just, well, the lyrics are just terrible, but
No,
there's weird gang vocals on it too.
Yeah.
The
It does
chorus,
not
yeah.
fit
Yeah.
with them at
no,
all.
it doesn't sound like
Yeah.
Iron Maiden.
I don't like the music either. That is
I
not
think
terrible.
it's got a cool little bass riff in the beginning.
The riff
That
is so
guitar,
gay.
God, sounds like Poison or something.
It's gay.
See,
don't know about
hit him with the
Poison.
guitar.
Yeah, I know.
Totally. It doesn't sound like that. Come on, Cece, talk to me.
This tattooed millionaire.
Greasy Machine. So bad.
These aren't even his lyrics.
No. What are you doing, Steve?
He has that gritty.
Yeah. Like the Holy Smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really leaned into that in this album. I like that bass part.
Yeah. All right, that's enough of that one.
Greasy machine.
She fell in love with it.
Yeah.
oh, you know it.
How could she not?
So greasy.
It is.
Sorry, no one gets that joke except me and Tim.
That's great.
Unless you're watching Mandalorian. So,
This one, Pudu.
I didn't even know it was out, the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
how dare you?
Disney Plus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
every Wednesday, every new episode every Wednesday, I believe.
Have you seen the latest, Fern? Sorry to get off on a tangent.
Only the first episode so far. There's only the one so far, right?
Yeah.
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 So yeah, you should know this.
This one, Pudu.
That's when they went down and they had the azaleans.
See, that's one. What did he say?
This one's Pudu, which
This one's
Pudu is
Pudu.
shit,
Because
basically.
so they were trying to fix an old IG,
Yeah.
bounty hunter, IG 11,
Yes.
and these little guys, and they had it's when you first listen to them, you don't really understand what they're saying, but they're speaking English. It's just a really weird, crazy, like broken
Yeah,
up version.
these guys.
Huh.
here. This guy.
It's like Scottish, basically.
These guys. Right here.
Almost.
This guy. This race right here. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
back to Maiden. I don't know what else. Is there anything else on this album we need to talk about? I kind of want to
I-
run a
I-
number of these.
Oh yeah.
I was. I think the only other comment I might have with wasting love, and the whole tattooed millionaire thing. I remember as a fan, back then seeing the wasting love video and how just it felt like a real departure from Maiden. So when No Prayer came out, I felt like, okay, that was a definite shift from basically everything 88 prior and how they were evolving. Then this came out and it was cool, Be Quick or Be Dead. Okay, awesome. Look different feel and everything. And then Wasting Love with the whole sort of hair metalish kind of edge it had to it. I remember never liking the song, but never feeling like settled with it.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that did
I don't
anything
even-
for anybody in terms of when they connected with the video when they saw it.
I'm pretty sure I've never seen the video for that.
I don't remember the video at all.
Yeah, there's one for that, and From Here to Eternity.
You turn it
I remember
also.
the From
Be
Here to
Quick.
Eternity one, and Be Quick or Be Dead, but I don't remember Wasting Love at all.
I don't remember.
I feel the same, Fern. I feel the same about Wasting Love. I feel because I remember when this album came out. I think I was just starting undergrad, and I started going away from rock and metal. Not that I never listened to it again, but like it was all starting to be classical music. So this was just like the latest Maiden. Be Quick is great, and then everything else is kind of weird. And Judas Be My Guy is okay, and it wasn't something I listened to all the time because I was infatuated with Maiden anymore. I was actually starting to lose interest, but Wasting Love was so weird because that was like the first power ballad.
Yes, yeah,
And then
Yeah.
as
It's got an
disjointed as I
acoustic-
think the rest of the album is, it's like even in specific songs, like this one, the middle of it.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell is this part? You just ruined the whole fucking song.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's like they're trying to be like musical or proggy or something, and they just ruined, like, if you're just going to do a power ballad, just and you
They just shoehorn these
Lean
parts
into
in.
it.
yeah. And that's what I feel about the whole album is like, especially starting it off with Be Quick, and then all of a sudden you got the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and it's just how all these weird like songs that don't make any sense. And not that again, it has to be any kind of, you know, a concept or anything like that, but it didn't have, I always felt like, and yes, I grew up on Killers and Number of the Beast, Power Slave, Piece of My Power Slave, but they always felt more like cohesive.
Yeah.
And then
I
this
get
was
that.
just like so
I think
weird.
this
There's
was
a couple
the first
songs that
album
needed to be left off.
where they did this, where it's like Afraid to Shoot Strangers is a good example, where it's a good song, but there's just these weird shifts in the song where it just switches parts like
Yeah.
That song shouldn't. It's almost 7 minutes. It should not be that long.
No,
No.
it's way too long.
It's a
The
pretty good song.
beginning
Way
is
too long.
extra long.
Yeah,
the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
And that goes to your point, Chris, about the cohesion. And it's like it's not there. It's just like it kind of reminds me of what Craig LaCicero said when he's talking about I can't remember what album he's talking about specifically or songs, but he said there's a difference between like riff piling and songwriting, and like there's
I don't.
Death Magnetic.
Just talking about
maybe, but
riff piling.
Well, we've talked about the Dark Angel album where they just bragged about how many riffs are on the album.
Right.
Yeah. Time does not heal. They bragged about that on the promo.
But that's what I'm talking about, where it's like they're just a pile of riffs.
It
I have this section.
together.
Let's stick this section to this section because it seems to work well.
Or we had this riff left over, right?
Right.
Like we want to use this. And
I'll admit Metallica is guilty of that too with their later albums. It's just like, you know, I like the albums, but they are definitely guilty of just saying, okay, well now we'll do this riff for 8 measures, and we'll go back to this riff, and then we'll go back to this riff, and it's just like it's not a cohesive song. Like
and I think that's self-proclaimed too. They'll be the first to tell you that, Lars. You know, be the first to tell you.
Oh yeah.
Eric, you need a fake Steve Harris button, like you're pretending you could call him. All right, let's call. Phone a friend. Phone a Harris.
The only British thing I have is
I'm a lady,
which doesn't really count.
Me and Fern have our own saying now. Like it'll come up randomly, but I guess we already swore. I don't know if we could say this, but
so there's swearing, and then there's this.
Yeah, that's true.
You can say whatever you want. This is not a.
You can edit this out, right? Or you can put a.
We're not gonna fucking edit this.
Yeah, you can put something over this word. But you all heard the Mission from Ari, right?
No.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, who hasn't?
What are we talking about?
Mission from Ari.
It was on our outro for a while, I believe.
You've heard it,
Part
John.
of it was.
I've heard it.
Some cunt's recording this.
Yes.
The argument. But
Yeah.
one of the many, many incredibly funny things that they say is, "You're not the cunt." So me and Fern would just be like setting up, and all of a sudden it's like, "You're not the cunt."
There's a lot of affirmation within Eyes of the Nile, just so you know. A lot of.
Yeah.
Well, so we didn't talk about the title track, which we probably should talk about that song at least.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna mention that.
Yeah,
I thought.
absolutely, because that's pretty important. We talk about that. It's the only song they play live now.
Well, no,
from
they
this
played
album,
every goddamn show too. Though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
What's
I
their
know. I know they want
replaced-
Janik to have some sort of like, "Hey, Janik's in the band," but I mean, could
They replaced Heaven Can Wait, kind of. Is it the sing along song?
I guess.
So.
But I mean, it was a huge difference when you heard. I think it was the Rio was the first live one where the audience was like really singing along.
Well, no, even the live album that came out right after this, I thought, or there was Donington as well.
A real
came
live
out.
one or a real dead one?
Real live one, real dead one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Donington came out in '93, I think.
Well, I pulled the one from Rio because it's impressive.
Well, yeah, this is a song that's all their songs are, I think, generally better live, but this one,
Yeah.
not even close.
Ridiculous.
Meant to be played live.
It's so awesome.
Are you sure this is not from Tally Ho? Sounds a little bit like.
No, there's a Brazilian accent to that. Oh,
That's right.
not a
We
Leesburg
overdubbed that
accent.
in there.
And we pick on Yannick a lot, but he added that little thing right there. Where
Yeah,
he goes,
it's so good.
It's perfect. Yeah.
That's him.
That's Yannick. Yeah. We do pick on him a lot because
That's his only thing he did. That was good.
the only good thing he's done in the band ever.
I've started playing notes with my guitar cable now, just whipping it, and I stretch my legs up on my amp.
Yeah.
Oh God, so embarrassing.
I am a man who walks alone when walking a dark road. Night are strolling through the park.
Also, Bruce on this is great because of all the
Oh yeah.
Sometimes a little strange, a little anxious when it's dark.
There we go.
Fear of the dark. Fear of the dark. I have a constant fear that something's always near. Fear of the dark. You.
Yes.
The dark. Someone's
All right.
The song almost doesn't fit on this album because it's
I feel like this is the only song they sat down and actually wrote in these writing sessions. They went, "We got this.
Yeah.
We're out. That's it. We're done."
This is the high point of the album. Let's put it at the end.
Yeah, right.
Also, I can't help but hear "Fear of the Dog" and "Fear of the Doug."
the duck. No, the duck.
The
Fear of the duck.
Fear of the duck. Fear of the
Fear of the
dog. Fear of
duck.
the Doug.
Yes.
Every
Fear
time.
of the duck.
The dog. The duck. The dog.
There it is.
Great. That's fucked for me now.
You're welcome. I did it to
some more
myself, and then
Audience participation here. So good.
yeah, very good. Yeah. Like this song comes on, and you're like, where did this come from? Where was this the last hour?
Yeah.
But it's so much better than any live version you hear of this.
Yeah.
I mean, not even. I don't even think it's just because of the crowd. They groove better on it live.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good closer.
Great song.
Yeah.
It's
So,
funny because this is one of those songs that we have those conversations when we're building a set list, and somewhat divided it as to whether or not we want to add it on any given night. But
Well, I was telling Joe before you joined, like, I don't think I've seen you. I think I've seen you guys play this once, and that's it. It's not on your set list a lot, is it?
We've taken it out the past, almost maybe the past year for some reason. I don't think Naveed's into it. I don't think people,
Well-
for whatever reason, care to play it too much.
Well, I think, and I think the other part of it is, just I think that we've also added a number of tunes, in the last year, and some of them being more epic, like with Seventh Son, and they're a bit longer. So
Yeah.
we're getting to that point where, we don't want to go past the 17 song mark. So we want to be careful that, you get to that sort of good problem to have, where you have too many good songs you want to play, well, you're gonna have to cut, and it just happens to be Fear of the Dark. Kind of never makes the cut because of all these new things, especially with the new Somewhere in Time, especially with the new Somewhere in Time tracks that we're adding, which is especially exciting. So I think
Thank you for that, by the way. Jesus Christ.
no, we are just so psyched, and we have other ideas coming soon. So stay tuned. But I think that may be part of why Fear of the Dark, because Fear of the Dark is one of those that's like, it's not terrible, but it definitely would not win a street fight against most of the set list currently.
Right. Yeah, I get it. It's different too when you're there at a Maiden show because it's like I said, it's
like Seek and Destroy, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to be there to sing it live, otherwise
Right.
it's just you're not gonna fucking put that on out of nowhere to listen to.
Yeah. It's a constant battle. It's like try to take your personal feelings out of how you feel about a song versus is the song going to go over? versus when did we play it last versus there's all these other songs versus Naveed. I'm just
Come
kidding.
on, he's not here. We got to be nice.
I know we love you, Naveed. You know he's not going to listen to this anyway. Or we don't like you. Forget it. Take that back. You're not the cunt.
All right. Should
well,
we? Oh, sorry,
I just want to at least get some bass players' opinions. Like for me, one thing that I know I don't like about this album is this is really where Steve Harris started to go into his power chord phase.
I knew you were gonna say
big time. Like it's all over where he's just fucking playing guitar on bass, and that's always bothered me about this album. I don't know if you guys. Well, Keith, this album has some sentimental value too, so I don't know if you're gonna.
Yeah, exactly. That's all thing for me. But it's flat out. Yeah, I mean.
The first album that you buy from a band is always significant and will always stick with you no matter what. So, like if this is the first one that you got into seriously, then I can get
no. I mean, we had already had everything for this, and then I ended up this is like the whole thing. Like we've discussed this before. You know, like my brother and I were getting into music at the same time, and he ended up with Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden, and I had Anthrax, Suicidal Tendencies, and Testament. So, I actually got this album, even though he's the one who had the Iron Maiden collection. But
well, that's sentimental.
I think at that point, my brother could not give a shit about this album.
It's a fascinating question, though, because and this to me goes with any music I listen to, because I've had people ask questions like this. Well, as a bass player, what do you think of these songs? And I think, as a rule, for me personally, if a song hits me or if music hits me, it just hits me. It's not because of the bass. But when listening to the bass, I noticed that it was definitely interesting that Steve started to get into the power chord thing. And I liked the thickness that it added, but I also felt like in some spots it felt like I would have been curious to know what it would have been like to let the guitars breathe a little bit more in that space, because it was so thunderous and it was cool. But I think part of it is you grow accustomed to the way Steve has played from up to that point.
Yeah.
Right. And
the gallop was gone in a lot of these. The
gallop was and I think that hopefully I'm not misquoting or misremembering something, but I think there was a deliberate want to step away from the gallop for a little while around that time, or not too long before that time, which lends to where they were at that time. And I think even today, a lot of the stuff that they play, there's not a whole lot of the gallop stuff. Right?
No, he doesn't. He still does a lot of chords.
Yeah. Right. Right. And as a player and as a tribute band playing that's really hard to translate live for me. So I got to be careful. But in terms of listening to it as a song, some of it's cool, but I think I would have been curious to know what it would have been like if he kind of laid back on the root notes and maybe have it produced to where the guitars are doing more of that texturing.
Yeah. Want to ask him, Eric?
I don't know if. Well, it's late there. Don't call them right now.
That's true. Phone Harry.
Yeah, it's like what? It's like 3 a.m. there. You can't do that.
Yeah, thereabouts.
He's writing new crap.
He's old. He's got to go to bed. But I just don't know if it would have made the album draft maybe subliminally even at the time, because I don't think there's something I thought about until much later as I played bass. But it's like, man, and I started learning their songs. I was like, man, he's just doing chords on this album all over the place. And the album kind of drags to begin with. It's what is it, like 10 minutes longer than No Prayer for the Dying, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And it's a long album. And I remember when it came out too, like we mentioned that Be Quick or Be Dead. Kind of, I think for me, got my hopes up for the album. I don't remember collectively how, because I've known Eric and Tim and Keith for back even when this album came out. But like we kind of got us excited for the album, and then it was just like, I remember playing it over and over and just being like, it's just nothing sticky really with this album.
I was with you the first time I heard this album, Joe. Do you remember this? I don't know if you remember. It's a weird, how we remember specific things and for no reason why I remember this, but we were at your uncle's house.
Were we? I was going to say, were we in Fairfax?
We were at your
Wait,
uncle's
Yes, we
house.
were.
You guys were down the street from my parents.
Yeah.
Basically. And I don't know why. Because I don't think you were driving yet, but we ended up listening to the entire album in
93.
A
Well, I would
car.
have been driving probably by then. When did it come out?
92.
What did we say the release
92.
date?
We came out in 92, and it was like
Oh no, I guess not. Yeah.
that was a weird thing. I remember listening to it in a car. I don't know if it was your car, but because we were in your uncle's house and we were like trying to get out of this conversation because we wanted to go listen to the new Iron Maiden album.
So, oh yeah. He definitely talks too much, doesn't he?
Oh, he's a talker.
I just
Oh, my
remember
God.
like, come on, we gotta go. Let's get this Maiden album. Let's go listen to them. I don't even know this dude. Why are we in this house? It was a weird situation.
May 92, by the way. May.
92. No, I should not have been driving it.
I don't even know if you had your learner's permit.
I
Anyway,
should have had my learners, I think. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, learners.
yeah. And then it wasn't but not even 2 years probably after this that Bruce officially left.
He left in 93.
Yeah. So then this album also from then on had the stink of being Bruce's last album and kind of fuck it. He didn't even like the album. He left the fucking band after this.
I think it's probably good that he left when he did though, because it's just like I think this album is not obviously we've said it's not that great. So I think you need to take a break and come back a little fresher. And
I mean,
oh yeah, it worked out.
Let's face it,
very
the worst decade of Iron Maiden is the 90s.
This worst. It's one of the worst decades for metal. So
Yeah.
And it's probably the worst, right? Well, I don't know. Maybe the early
what the 90s?
Rose.
Yeah, wait. I mean, some of the greatest. I mean,
Yeah.
Older
that's
came
true.
out in the 90s.
I
So the
disagree
Zeros?
only because
Early zeros might be.
the early zeros. Yeah.
That's where things got really.
Whenever Limp Bizkit started, I think was
That's late 90s.
Late 90s.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Have any of you seen
no,
them with
midnight.
Blaze live?
No.
I saw them in Boston with Blaze, and it was a small theater. I forget what the actual album was. This is how kind of like out of it I was with everything, but me and someone else went, and it was actually awesome. And I think part of it because they were in a small theater, and Blaze was actually a great frontman. He was, as much as I despised his voice, I just remember him being incredibly animated and just running around the stage. And it was like, oh my God, like he was just so fun to watch. And it was a great show. But the only thing I actually remember from that show really was him just being like fun, and made it just fun to watch them with this terrible singer, in my opinion.
He's not a very
It's
good
not just your opinion.
No.
That's pretty universal, I think.
I've still never listened to both of those albums all the way through.
I never
Neither
have
have I.
either.
singer.
Can't do it.
I just listened to a podcast with Chris Jericho. He has a great podcast, if you don't know, and he's a huge Maiden fan.
Yes.
And he did the last one was the top 10 opening Maiden tracks on an album.
Well,
And it was him and two other people, I think a writer from Kerrang and like Brian Slagle or something from Metal Blade Records.
Yeah.
And they all had their top 10 opening Maiden tracks.
This is a recent podcast.
Yeah. It was just like the last one or two.
Yeah, I've encouraged you guys to listen to. What was the Anthrax?
I listened to that. Yeah.
Yeah, that
They
was really
compared
good.
Among the Living and
The one with spreading the disease.
Spreading the Disease. Yeah.
Oh,
In fact, I almost took inspiration from that, but I'm like, you can't compare this album and Number of the Beast. It
Yeah,
wouldn't be
right.
fair.
We need an
You're
Eddie
like-
Trunk on here to defend.
Yeah.
This
You're like
album.
Ultimate Warrior
Yeah.
going up against some no-name wrestler.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Bob Johnson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, whew.
The only other thing I wanted to say about this album is, and we didn't really mention it too much, but the album really suffers without Adrian Smith. Like
Yeah.
his, you know, I know that he wasn't on the last album either, but this is like, it just, I don't know. I think his writing credits, him and Bruce write some really good stuff, and without him, it just didn't. I don't know. It's another reason why this album doesn't work for me. So
yeah.
I mean, I'll love Steve Harris to the day I die. I mean, that guy writes some incredible fucking tunes, but you know what? This band really is a group of people, you know, like even though Harris, is nowhere, none of them are nearly as important as Steve. they all have a
Yeah.
position within the band that actually makes it,
Yeah.
Well, without Bruce, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
True.
hey, Paul. Hey, with Paul, it was okay. But,
Oh yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
With Paul, it wouldn't have lasted too long.
Right.
They would not.
Yeah.
still
And he
going
couldn't be
on
touring
today.
now, considering
Yeah.
the position
No.
Xavier was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's grade this so we can move on to Number of the Beast.
Oh, we're grading
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Gotta grade it.
A
like
through F.
A, B, C kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
A to
Yes.
F, yeah.
Exactly.
You can do
Let's start
minuses
with
or
Chris.
pluses too.
Yeah.
And I found out recently that F minus is a thing. So
I
Is it
just heard
really?
that's so weird because I just heard that the other day for something. And
well, I was looking
like,
at it was the Commanders, Washington Commanders put out their grade.
yes, that's exactly
Yeah.
what I was reading.
I was like,
That's so
how is
funny.
F minus a grade? Well, if it's the Commanders, I could see why F
I
minus.
couldn't believe that they got
Yeah.
the worst.
Was it for mascots?
No, for everything, the whole
Yeah,
organization.
The band.
It was
yeah.
the first time they let players vote on like the condition of the entire organization, like locker rooms, travel,
Food.
Training staff.
food, staff, all that kind of
Gyms.
So they gave it F minus because it wouldn't be fair to other teams that failed, right?
stuff. I guess
Isn't that the rationale?
Probably.
I think they failed on all but 2 categories, basically.
One was an A, which was really weird.
Yeah, I can't remember which
It was
one
like
it was.
F, 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 D, A. F,
Oh,
F, F.
sexual. I think sexual harassment. Was
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, grades for this album.
Incompetence. A. Sorry, I was still on the.
It's still on the
Redskins.
Commanders.
Okay, I
Commanders.
was gonna say,
Yeah.
what? Okay.
Well, I mean,
I mean, I can start. I'll go C for this one because it's not like I don't hate the album. It's not like an F. And there are some good songs, and the fact that Be Quick or Be Dead and Fear the Dark are really good songs. C, a solid C,
bouncy C.
bouncy C. Give me a C.
oh, what? Bouncy C.
Never mind.
I'm gonna go C plus just because it's got a warmest place in my heart.
Well,
I understand.
we should have gone last. Our guest should have gone first.
I'm a dick. What can I say?
I'll go C plus. C
I was
plus.
expecting lower than that. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Being
think
nice.
for me, I think for me, C minus, but it's not because it's just like Eric said, it's not at all a bad album. But I mean, if we're thinking about the entire discography, and of course it's subjective to who you are, what Maiden means to you, where you were in your life when you first heard Maiden, and when you first heard each of the albums, all that stuff put together. For me, as stacked with the rest of the discography, I would say it is probably somewhere about a C minus for me.
That's what I was going to say. C minus.
All right, 20.
Yeah. That's about a
Yeah.
C average there, I think.
I'd say
C,
yeah.
C, C plus,
C
C plus,
minus.
C minus. C. Somebody do the math.
I'd say C minus. How is this the band that 4 years prior to this had put out Seventh Son?
Oh my
Um,
gosh, I know that's crazy.
It's
It's
just
not. They
shocking
had
the
a different guy in the band.
I know, but one guy.
Well,
Maybe that
Shocking.
speaks to songwriting by riff
Yeah.
piling and inspiration and concept,
Mhm.
because Seventh Son was
Mhm.
a concept, there was thought behind it, right?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
fact, I mean, I don't want to get too in the weeds with that one, but Bruce almost left around that time too. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
you
thinking
wanted
about it.
more acoustic. Yeah.
yeah.
and who knows? Who's to say who really writes these songs? Like who they give credit to, right? Like there's got to be a collaboration, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
even though
Right.
it may say Harris, it might really be like some other guys.
Well, I mean, it can be
Let's steer
a
it this way.
combination, but he might, however they have it worked out, he could have had like 80% of the song
Right,
and they just
yeah.
left it at that. But who knows? It's funny because we actually do the bookend tunes, Be Quick and Fair, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you
I
that
mean,
actually. I think
yeah.
those are the only two I've seen you guys do. So I assume those are the only two that you actually.
I was actually listening to some of these just to see if, one would stick out as being a possibility for something in the
Nope.
future.
No,
And
I don't think so.
well, Judas Be My Guide was probably the
what?
closest one,
You're
or
right,
Wasting
maybe.
Love. But when Wasting Love comes, when that middle part comes up, I'm just like, that just ruined the whole song. Forget it.
Never mind.
Well, Afraid to Shoot Strangers is the only other one they've played live recently. Like, and I'm recently,
Sort of
I mean,
recently.
like 2013, I think is the last time they played that. So
Yeah. I like a lot of that song, but I just don't know.
It's very long.
It is long, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think,
That's
you know,
right.
you got to think about crowd reaction too. Like, I don't think people are coming to see a cover band to do Afraid to Shoot Strangers.
Yeah.
So,
If it's going to be a long song, it has to be strong from beginning to end. It can't.
absolutely.
I can tell you guys, as a fan of you guys and what you do, if you busted out any one of these others from 2 to 11, these tracks, I would not like mark out for that at all. I'd be like, huh.
You would what? You
I
would
wouldn't
leave?
like, no, I wouldn't mark out. Like I wouldn't be like, fuck it. Like you pull out what
You would freak out.
You would freak
Yeah,
out.
you do Stranger in a Strange Land. We're like,
Nah.
fuck yeah, like yes, fuck yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right.
None of these
Like-
are gonna. I think I speak for Eric too on that. Like none of the. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
maybe.
I would not, yeah.
I'd be like,
The
that's
last time I saw
interesting.
Maiden,
Interesting.
the last time I saw Maiden, they played, a handful of the stuff of the Blaze Bailey stuff, and it was really
Yeah.
cool. Like I thought, like when
Oh,
I was
yeah.
sitting there watching, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is so badass to hear these guys play those tunes because let's face it, nobody really thinks about that stuff. If you guys did the Blaze Bailey stuff when I showed up to see an Iron Maiden tribute, I don't know that I'd be excited.
We just do.
It's funny because I wonder, I think we all, and I'm not going to speak for the rest of the band, but I would imagine that when we think about what songs to add to the set list, because there are a handful of actually really cool Blaze songs too, right? To be fair. But that said, it's not only is it thinking about, well, how did it translate when Iron Maiden did it live, but for us contextually, how would it work within the set list that we're building? Right, because there's some songs where honestly it's like we think it could have been awesome and it was okay, and some songs where it's like we're not sure what it's going to do and it wound up actually destroying the house, right? Which was awesome. So it's an interesting conversation to have, to think about that kind of thing, because to your point, when you see Maiden do Blaze songs, it's like, oh yeah, awesome, but then when it's a tribute band, right, it's a little bit of a different kind of a ball game that you're thinking about, right?
That's true.
Klansman is the only Blaze song we do. Right?
See, Klansman.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Got a lot of requests for Sign of the Cross, actually.
I actually listened to that the other day, thinking about that specifically. Will this song work? And I'm just like, oh my God.
It's rough. It's rough.
You need the whole theatrics like they do live with the cross and Bruce
Yeah,
coming out. And like,
Oh yeah,
and all
to
that.
light up
So
across.
goofy.
Yeah. It is kind of goofy.
A lot of pyro on that one. Yeah.
Gonna need a bigger boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in '92. We were kind of in a different place mentally as far as our fandom of metal, I think, as well. Like a lot of stuff had happened before this that we were kind of branching off in different places. Like Primus had happened, Faith No More had happened, Caius had happened, Clutch was about to happen. It was just a weird time, and like, where did Maiden fit and all that? And they could have fit, but they put this out, and you're like, guys, I'm on your side, but you're losing me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, that was such a weird time.
Yeah.
What's
sure.
interesting too, thinking back to that time with all the things that were coming out. You had 120 Minutes on MTV and all these other shows that were, other than Headbangers Ball, that were starting to showcase all this different stuff. I wonder if where Maiden started to branch out, I wonder if at that time it might have served them better to stick with their really solid formula that they had, if they were able to do that. Maybe they weren't in the musical mindset to do that, but if they had, I wonder how differently it would be, because there was so much else that was straying further from home coming into our lives musically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have worked well, actually.
And I guess you can't blame them. Like, I always use the Metallica as an example of, they always wrote whatever the hell they wanted.
Yeah.
They didn't, you got the Black Album. It's like, who expected something like that after Injustice?
Right.
And so you can't, as a fan, you have to understand that artists want to write whatever the hell they want, whether they're feeling proggy and they want to branch out, or they want to write a power ballad like Wasting Love. It's like, you can't blame them for not sounding like Power Slave or Peace of Mind or your favorite classic Iron Maiden songs. And I always try to remember that and just listen objectively. And it's like, yeah, this is not Aces High. I fucking hate it. But
to that, yeah.
And I still can't, like,
But you
I
still
try
don't
to
like
like it. Huh?
But you still don't like Book of Souls.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like, I don't know how to like it.
Speed of light,
Like,
speed of light, speed of light, speed of light, speed of light.
oh yeah,
I do.
some of those songs are good.
That's like my least favorite on that album, but yeah, okay.
Oh, that's my jam. That is my
I would
jam.
think
all day,
like that would be a contender to play, if anything.
I think it'd be awesome, especially
Man,
with
if you
the
pick
video.
that song from Book of Souls, I'd be disappointed.
Really?
There's a couple of great
With the
songs.
video?
on it, I think. Yeah.
There are
But fuck.
Oh, wait, I love that
songs on that
song. No, you guys should do that song. Fuck,
So
don't do that.
Chris, I'm really glad you said something about that too, because what you just said about how artists, as a listener, really appreciating what the artist wants to do, right? Regardless of what it is, what you're used to, whatever. And with Maiden, it was an interesting time. There was so much going on. So maybe these departures, whereas for me with Metallica, at the time, I liked Load, I liked Reload, I liked Saint Anger a lot, and I felt like I was the only one on the planet liking what was going on.
Yeah.
You weren't.
While
Saint Anger,
while still loving obviously the first 4 albums, because that's what when I first started listening to metal. Injustice for All was brand new, Seventh Son was brand new, State of Euphoria brand new. See, South of Heaven was brand new. It was 88 was when I got into metal. So all those had a special place in my heart, but kind of trying to keep an open mind. And for some reason, there was something about Maiden, and I don't know what it was, that when they came out around that time with No Prayer and then with Fear of the Dark, it was like, ooh, it's like you want to hold on, you want to love what's going on, and it's like, I'm going to keep you. I'm not going to sell the CD, I'm not going to sell the cassette, I'm going to keep it here.
Yeah.
It grew on me, but it just didn't hit the same way the way for some reason Metallica did, and maybe it was just where I was in my life at the time. But yeah, it's a really fascinating thing to think about.
It's like when we saw Phantom Menace and we wanted to like it so much.
And
then a few years later, we were like,
that's a
oh,
good
that movie's
analogy.
really bad, actually.
Jar Jar Binks. It's like I wanted to do the walk of shame just thinking of Jar Jar Binks. Yeah.
Energy, aggression, power. To sum it up, it's a vulgar display of power.
Sometimes I think you drink just a little too much blood.
I'm sorry, I'm going to PA. Bloodaholics Anonymous.
Cut out. Cutting it up big time.
They are miserable slaves of Satan.
Some cunt's recording this.